Welcome. My name is Moses Dubien.
Hi, my name is Knock.
We are going to talk about ethical issues with evaluators.
First, let's talk about ethical guidelines. A survey done by Morris and Kahn on members of the American Evaluation Association found that two-thirds of evaluators have encountered major ethical challenges in all stages of their evaluations, with the main being pressures from stakeholders to alter their results. Ethical conflicts can be daunting for any evaluator. However, two leading codes of evaluation exist that serve as guidelines to inform evaluators of ethical and appropriate ways for evaluations to be conducted, whereby enhancing its quality and fairness. The first is Program Evaluation Standards, developed by the Joint Committee on Standards for Educational Evaluation. The second is the Guiding Principles for Evaluators, developed by the American Evaluation Association. Both are consistent in nature, with the program evaluation standards placing emphasis on the evaluation itself and what needs to be accounted for in the process, while the guiding principles focus on the behavior of the evaluator. The program evaluation standards are categorized into 5 distinguishing areas of importance when conducting an evaluation. These are 1. Utility, 2. Feasibility, 3. Propriety, 4. Accuracy, and 5. Educational accountability. The guiding principles consist of 5 broad principles that model proper evaluator conduct. These are systematic inquiry, competence, integrity and honesty, respect for people, and responsibilities for general and public welfare. These codes of evaluation are not a one-size-fits-all solution, as different evaluation contexts require different standards to be considered. Also, the degree to which an evaluator will follow these standards is based on their own honor system.
This ties directly into regulation. You see, evaluators can choose when and where to apply these standards and principles. As a result, this makes regulation with evaluation lack consistency. Furthermore, evaluators do not require licenses, unlike doctors and lawyers. Now, making the situation worse, there is no enforcement of the standards and principles found in the AEA as well as Joint Committee on Standards for Educational Evaluation.
Next, we'll talk about 4 cases of where evaluations have failed.
First, we have case number one, the policy in the United States known as the war on drugs. The war on drugs has been a political failure of the United States government. Just look at the numbers here. 1.6 million US drug arrests in 2010, 8 million arrests for pot since 2000. It simply is not deterring people from using drugs. Many research studies and evaluations have been conducted on the policy regarding drug use as well as the war on drugs in the United States, as well as in Canada. The majority of research as well as evaluations have pointed to the failure of the war on drugs and its ineffectiveness. However, it is still being used today in America. This is an issue with evaluations where their results are not being utilized, where the results would be beneficial to society as a whole. Despite the research findings showing ineffectiveness, the war on drugs continues and has so continued for years and years. The second case is actually very recent. It involves President Donald Trump and FBI Director, former FBI Director Comey. This is an example of where evaluation is seen on a continuum. It is neither internal or external. Rather, it is both. Internal in the sense that Comey works for the United States government, and external in the sense that Comey worked for a separate department in the United States government. Despite Comey's unwillingness to be intimidated by Donald Trump, as well as being an external evaluator in a separate department, he was still faced with termination because his views did not align with President Donald Trump's. This is a classic example of an issue with that internal evaluators deal with, is to only show what you want the stakeholders to see. And here, one of the biggest stakeholders of all, Donald Trump. Moving on to case number 3 is the infamous 2008 world recession. Here is a case where external evaluators were caught with dirty hands. Looking back at the house crisis in 2008 in the United States, banks pressured credit rating agencies, CRAs, to ensure strong ratings for subprime mortgages. By ensuring the strong positive ratings for the subprime mortgages, the external evaluators, the CRAs, maintained their employment with the banks and were rewarded handsomely.
The last case is an example of an ethical issue where the client pushes through with a project for gain over the welfare of the public. Tsukiji is the biggest fish market in the world, popular with both tourists and locals. The previous Tokyo governor, Shintaro Ishihara, carelessly pushed for the relocation of the market. The current administration, run by Yuriko Koike, has recently conducted a new evaluation concerning toxicity levels of the new location, which was formerly the site of Tokyo Gas Company. Toxicity levels were found to be 79 times higher than government safety limits. Now, this project is under investigation, and it is unsure what happened, but there is much speculation that the former Tokyo government altered the evaluation report. Or is it the other way around? Did evaluators tamper with the results?
Now we are going to look at a questionnaire for all of you. Do you have what it takes to become an evaluator? Answer these 6 questions.
1. Would you go forward with an evaluation knowing that it might compromise your position even if it is ethically correct?
Number 2, are you willing to tamper the results of your evaluation to maintain employment or gain further employment with your employer?
3. As an evaluator, do the ends justify the means?
Number 4, do you put yourself in places where you can learn about differences and create relationships?
5. Are you willing to commit yourself to lifelong learning in order to achieve cultural competence?
Number 6, can you adapt your communication style to effectively communicate in ways different than your own?
If you answered yes to questions 2 and 3 and no to questions 1, 4, 5, and 6, then it is highly unlikely that you would become a good evaluator and your code of ethics is questionable.
Thanks, guys. I hope to get a good discussion going from this. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching our video.
Some questions for food for thought.